It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian with our new midweek mini-series called Nutrition Nuggets.
Hey, Rob.
Oh, hello, Sandra. Welcome back.
Welcome today.
What did you bring us?
Sugar and all its names.
Oh, we've discussed this a little bit, and so this will be pretty informative because there's many names for sugar, as we've learned.
Well, sugar by any other name is still sugar.
It sounds like a movie. Maybe that could be our YouTube movie. Are you guys watching our YouTube channel yet? It's pretty fun. It's going to get more fun.
I am.
Oh yeah. I'm getting stoked to do some videos. I'm kind of goofy if you guys haven't noticed. So I'm once I wrap my head around the video aspect of things, we're going to have some fun. So we'll keep you posted on that, but check it out in the meantime because there's lots there still. All right, let's get into it. Sugar.
Yeah, I know there's lots of people that add honey to their coffee or other like molasses, but as I said, sugar by any other name is still sugar, and it still impacts the blood sugar and affects your risk of developing many chronic diseases like cardiovascular disease, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, and eventually chronic kidney disease and dementia.
Yeah, that's the important thing, that it all affects your body the same way, regardless of what it's called.
That's right. And it's the amount that matters. So, it's okay to have some sugar for sure, but it's estimated that the average American adult has the equivalent of 60 pounds of sugar a year, which is 6 times 10 bowling balls.
Holy cow. 60 pounds. 60 pounds. That's like a small child. It's like eating an Easter bunny the size of a child.
And children even more because of the sweetened beverages. They actually have enough to fill a bathtub, 30 gallons of sweetened beverages of sugar. Like, this is a lot of sugar, and this is taken from the American Heart Association.
Wow, that's insane. It's one of those things because you kind of just have it in small doses, so you don't think that you're consuming that much. But when you look at it, when you hear those stats, those little things, they add up over the course of the day or the year, the month or whatever.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's staggering.
10-pound bowling balls. So 6 of those in the year. Like, that's a lot of added sugar.
I love the way they like the images they create. Let's how can we describe sugar? How about bowling balls? That'd be a good way to describe sugar.
That's right. Yeah, and it's mostly because it's the most common additive in ultra-processed foods for the taste, texture, flavor, and it's added by the manufacturers. This is why we're talking about names of sugar, because there might be adding a type of sugar, but you don't think it's sugar because it doesn't say sugar.
Right. So let's talk about those names then.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think are some of the names?
Well, I know because you've told me before, but before you told me that, I didn't know. So, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that go, oh, wow, really? I didn't know that. So I have learned through the course of this podcast that words with OSE, O-S-E, like fructose. Well, I like listening to Sandra rhyme it off. She's good at this. So do your little rhyme.
I don't have a rhyme.
You did it in one episode and it sounded like you do it all the time. It was like fructose, glucose, lactose.
That's true, yeah. Fructose, glucose, sucrose, dextrose.
Yeah, see?
Lactose. There you go. Any word ending with OSE, O-S-E, the dextrose, the fructose. So high fructose corn syrup is a big one. That's a big red flag that it's an ultra-processed food. There's no natural foods that naturally have high fructose corn syrup as their natural ingredient.
Okay. And that's in a lot of stuff. And is it called HFCS in some places or on some labels? Or is that just your short form for it?
That's my short form.
Okay. Because that's what I always see, but that's because that's you writing it down. So I'm just thinking if people are looking at labels, what would they look for? It would say high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or corn syrup solids, fruit juice concentrate, malt syrup, cane juice, cane sugar, rice syrup, confection sugars, coconut sugar, honey, dextrin, maltodextrin, molasses. So those are the main ones. I think there's about over 50 names.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's part of, sugar gives flavor and taste and helps the product, be more attractive and acceptable for people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think it's just crazy that there's so many different kinds of sugar. I guess they all have different purposes and do different things in the food, and that's how it's evolved into that.
Yeah. And actually, when you said food, that's right. But beverages are the leading source of added sugar in the diet.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Pop and soft drinks, 25%, fruit drinks, 11%, 3% sports drinks, and 7% coffees that are like sweetened coffees.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that anymore. I like my bitter coffee now.
Right.
Pop would be pretty boring if you think about it without sugar in it, because that's where all the flavor comes from. It'd just be like carbonated water. There wouldn't be anything else.
Right.
So, I mean, it makes sense that, and most other drinks are like that too, that all the flavor comes from the sugar. So,
and there's a huge industry for sugarless or diet pop, which it's a whole other can of worms, because I think it tricks the body into thinking you are eating something sweet, and then you actually have more sweet cravings. So it actually could lead to increased sweet cravings having diet pop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what the research is saying.
Things you learn in dietitian school, hey?
Well, this isn't school. It's more just daily living and keeping
life as a dietitian.
ears and eyes curious to the research. And actually, with food labels, food manufacturers are required to list the amount of sugar. 2021 was when the regulations came in. And so the research has shown that the nutrition facts label may prevent nearly 1 million cases of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes over the next 2 decades.
Really? Just from sort of educating people of what's in the product?
Yeah, the nutrition facts label.
Wow. So it's really important that people understand how to read that and actually look at it.
Yeah, because what's new, I think, is you didn't see the added sugars in the past, and now they are listed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So the words for sugar that we mentioned are under the ingredient list.
Right. Yeah, they're not the nutrition facts. They're on the ingredient list itself.
That's right. They're like the listing of the ingredients in descending order from the most to the least.
Okay. I think I knew that, but that's good that you mentioned that, because I'm not sure if that's obvious.
Right. And then the nutrition facts has the serving size of the food that they're talking about, that it's like the reference serving size. And then they'll list under the carbohydrates, sugars, and then you can see the grams of sugar.
And as we pointed out in our label reading episode, like number 9, I think, it's really, really important to look at the serving size, because it varies from product to product. So if you're comparing two things, the first thing you got to make sure is that you're comparing equal amounts.
Like apples to apples in a sense. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it doesn't mean that that's a serving, like that's a portion that you should have. It's just a serving size that you can get some numbers around.
Yeah, exactly.
So on average, an American adult has about 77 grams of sugar per day of added sugars.
They have, or they should have?
No, this is on average what is consumed.
Okay.
And that's more than 3 times of what is recommended.
Oh, wow.
So there's no RDA, recommended daily allowance, because it's not an essential nutrient that we have to have, but there's a maximum limit. So that's why I said it's 3 times the max limit. So for women, 6 teaspoons of added sugar, which is 25 grams or 100 calories. And for men, it's 9 teaspoons or 36 grams and 150 calories.
Okay. And does that vary based on your size, or is that like, it's not a gender thing? It's got to be based on the average male versus the average female?
Yeah, it's kind of similar how they use the daily value, the DV. It's kind of based on a standard calorie level and then...
Right, okay.
So looking at, say, hot chocolate, for instance, 36 grams in 3 tablespoons. So 3 tablespoons of hot chocolate gives you 36 grams of sugar. And for a woman, 6 teaspoons or 25 grams of sugar is the maximum amount. So that's actually the hot chocolate, just 1 cup of hot chocolate is kind of pushing that limit to be too much sugar.
Yeah, it's like your max for the day. Mm-hmm. It's probably the same as a can of pop. It's going to be the same sort of thing.
Yeah, it's about the can. Exactly. A can of Coke or any kind of soft drink is about like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And in the gout episode that we talked about earlier this week, a Starbucks.
Yeah, the venti latte or latte
had something like over 60 grams of sugar, which is, again,
way
2 to
more
3
than
times.
you need,
of the recommended. So it's a guideline, and it just kind of shows that a lot of foods that are ultra processed that have all these extra sugars that have all these different names and aliases are sneaky ways that sugar's getting into our daily diet. And to just be aware that if you're eating a lot of ultra processed foods, then you're going to be probably getting a lot of these added sugars that add up over days and over times and years, and increases your risk for developing chronic diseases.
Yeah. And something I might add too is that you'll find sugar in places where you won't expect sugar. It's not just in sweet foods. Like if you look at a bag of chips, there's sugar in it. Most sauces,
like ketchup,
have sugar in it. Start to read the label. You'll be surprised now that you know some of these words. You'll be surprised what foods they are putting sugar into. It'll be a little homework project for you. Was there anything else you wanted to say, Sandra?
I think that's about it.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. I think that's pretty important information. And
no, it actually isn't. Sorry.
Oh, she's got more.
I
thought you meant that's not important information.
The most people don't need to avoid fruit or vegetables because of the sugar in minimally processed whole foods. It's okay.
Yeah, that kind of sugar is okay.
Yeah, because it's natural sugar. Not that it's natural. It's just that the food has other benefits because you're getting fiber, you're getting some fluid, some water in that food. It's minimally processed, so you're getting more nutrients in its intended form. So that's kind of different than the ultra processed foods. So it's that balance of trying to increase your whole minimally processed foods and reduce your ultra processed foods. And then that balance of nutrition and quality of the diet will improve.
Yeah. Like if you think of a bucket load of green peppers, will have the equivalent amount of sugar as 1 can of pop. But think of all the other nutrients you're getting from the green peppers. You're getting the fiber and all the other good stuff, or the can of pop's going to have nothing other than sugar.
Right. And
so,
you would never eat a bucket full of red pepper. So it's perfect because you just have, a few peppers in your salad and it fills you up. It's a volume food and you're getting a little bit of that natural sugar from the carbohydrates, and that's okay. It's the ultra processed foods that have added sugars that we really want to try to be more mindful of.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. We'll be back next week with more fun and games. And check out YouTube, check out Facebook, Instagram, Sandra's website. She's got, she should have the new blog on there soon about the diet culture, which seems to be a really, it's getting a lot of attention. And I think it's a good thing that it's getting a lot of attention. So there's a full blog on that our guest that day, Lisa Duncan, she wrote. So that'll be on Sandra's website, mywifethedietitian.com. I'll be up there in the next, soon. So give that a look. And rating and reviewing, we've got a few new reviews have come in, so thank you for that. We really appreciate that. And check it out next week. We will be back with something fun. So we appreciate you guys coming out. Have a good week. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.